Elizabeth, if any other
That's
questions
great.
come in, we've only got about 5 minutes left. I can highlight a few last pieces of content, or we could be interactive.
We have one comment from Ernest, who just, to add on your comments earlier around communication, saying that if you shorten the interval between an announcement and the implementation, you can achieve some credibility. And a question just came in from Colin saying, what author or published work would you recommend that captures best practices for joint ventures and M&A? Besides maybe your 18 books or in addition to your books?
Yeah, thank you for that. Colin, if you wouldn't mind sending me an email, on the top of my head, I don't have an answer for you, but I do have at home, I have a home business library, and I'm here at the office now. I have a couple of books that I really like on joint ventures, and unfortunately they're just not here with me. But if you email me, I'll email you back a couple of those titles. I'm sort of looking around all of my bookshelves for a quick scan to be responsive, but I don't see any of those books here. There is one series put out by Prentice Hall called Corporate Partnering. I don't know if it's still published, but that one made it to my office. But some of the really good ones are in my home library.
And we can get those and share them with the group when we post the slides.
Sure, sure. I do want to come back to the point that was made, just the point before that. Could you repeat that one for a second?
The point,
not the slide, but the comment from the audience, because I want to comment on that.
Right. Ernest had mentioned for communication, if you shorten the interval between the announcement of an acquisition and the implementation, then you can achieve some credibility.
So let's have a little group discussion for a minute. Why do I think, and Joel, tell me if you agree, why do I think Ernest is spot on, as the British say? Why do I think he's 100% right?
Well, I could only hazard to guess from personal experiences. It leaves less uncertainty with the employees, but no, I'm just guessing here.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. I mean, the issue, again, one of the themes of today's webinar, right, is this issue of uncertainty. And, you know, like if I'm Joel's boss, I'm not implying I think Joel is my boss in this scenario, but if I'm Joel's boss, the longer Joel thinks that I know something that he doesn't know, right, the more resentful he becomes. But if I'm pretty quick to share it, even if it was, you know, if I can say to Joel, hey, you know, I'm sorry I'm waiting to tell you this on Wednesday, I just found it out on Monday, Joel feels a little bit better about the trust issue and the uncertainty issue. But the longer that goes by, the more employees feel, this is why Ernest is such a sage here, the more the employees feel that they're being lied to or deceived in some way, or the leaders of the company know everything. It's a little bit like the big Occupy Wall Street stuff that's going on here. You know, the whole, you know, disparity between the 99 and the 1. I mean, I think the whole thing's a bunch of bunk personally, but that's just me speaking on the webinar. But this disconnect between those in the know and those not in the know is something that Ernest is bringing out in his point. And the shorter you can make that disconnect, I think that the better off that the integration will be, and hopefully the better the chances of integration success. But great participation here towards the end with comments and questions from the audience. Thank you very much, all of you, for that.
So we're just at about 2 o'clock. Andrew, any final words?
No, let me just share with you, if you skip a few pages ahead, just a couple more to right there. So just so everybody knows, pages 31 through 38, I think it's going to be, are 10 post-closing best practices that I'm sharing with you. They will be available when the slides get posted. And then the PowerPoint will stop there. It will not include the information on harvesting intangible assets. We'll do that in 2012. But take a look at those best practices. We did touch on a bunch of them over the course of the hour, but there's a few in there that are definitely worth a look and a few minutes of your time following this webinar.
That's great. Well, we're just at 2 o'clock, and thanks for everybody who participated. Thank you for all of the wonderful questions, and a special thanks to Andrew. Of course, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you work with us on this series, and I think it's clear that your experience and your wisdom and your very much appreciated sense of humor has brought a lot more information to the Firmex community on this important topic. So thanks again. I know Joel and I and everybody here at Firmex greatly appreciates it.
It's been my pleasure. It's a very, very professional team, and if it's any reflection on how you guys run your shop, I would highly recommend Firmex to everybody.
Thanks, Andrew. So just to wrap up on the last one or two details, the 5 people who see their names here on the screen, congratulations. You will be receiving a complimentary copy of one of Andrew's books. We'll be contacting you for shipping details, and you can pick which one that you'd prefer. And for those of you who'd like to review this masterclass again or would like to share it or any of the others in the series with your colleagues, we'll be providing a link to the recording and the slides, as well as the other points that were mentioned in the session, and links to complimentary due diligence checklists from Andrew's other book, the AMA Handbook of Due Diligence. And
By the way, Elizabeth, not to interrupt you, but I'm seeing here this page. For all of you that are listening in today, Dennis is a very good friend of mine. I would highly recommend that you attend his session. He's a winner. It's going to be a great session.
Well, that's great. You took the words right out of my mouth. We're looking forward to this session to kick off 2012, and we'll also be following up with details on more sessions with Andrew.